As an engineer, my grandfather Frank had developed professionally rather quickly in a short period of time, and he had a lot of programs under his belt, and because he was good at what he was doing, he was promoted to the head of government sound.
The Depression cut way back on the number of technical people particularly that were in the engineering department. The acoustic department was progressing because of the sound motion picture industry, but also what started to move forward was work for the government, particularly the Navy, because they were updating equipment on ships, newer technology. And because that had to do work very rapidly, they decided to set up a government sound division. And they needed somebody to be in charge of it. And they asked my father to be in charge of it, primarily because they saw that his designs as a research acoustician were usually very practical, and very little production engineering had to go into making it be a final unit. So they thought that since this whole division would have to go quickly from idea into production, that he would be the ideal person to be in charge.
And also, because of how those other departments were cut and they had so many programs in a short period of time, that's really how you can learn the best, because when a group has to perform, they make it work. And he learned a lot through doing it.
Yeah, and what also occurred, he had a group of production engineers working for him. And at that time, production engineering really started with with Henry Ford in the automobile industry. And that's the idea of making things so that the parts are the same and you can manufacture them quickly on a production line.
And they also want to be affordable on the production line, because when you're doing large quantities, it can't cost the same amount as a prototype.
He had a number of production engineers working for him, and as they were getting into the programs that they were working on, he was getting very bored. The production engineers would get into debates on, well, should this be a casting, or should it be a forging, or should it be machined? And it would be based on what it has to do, what its strengths have to be, and how many we're going to build as far as what would be the cheapest way to go. And he looked at it, my God, I'm wasting my time. I want to design stuff. I could care less whether it was a forging or a casting. And he wrote my grandmother, a letter, his mother, and said, gee, I really don't like this. I'm wasting my time. I'm going to quit. And my grandmother was not highly educated, but she was very wise.
And she was about 4 feet,
4 feet tall.
And had a very thick Italian accent.
And so she wrote back to him, Frankie, all your life things have come real easy to you, and so you didn't have, it was easy for you to learn them. Now you're having trouble because it's an area that you're not as familiar about. And what you're doing is you're fighting it because it's taking more time for you to learn. But it probably means that this is something important to learn, and you need to spend the time to learn it. So he kept going on that job, and he was in that position for 5 years.
And he later credited it as the most valuable on-the-job learning that he had ever had, and it became one of the cornerstones that Mass Products Corporation has still to this day, the value and importance of working together with design and production engineering.